Hello, my loves. Hello, hello, hello. My name is Dustina. This is Spiritual Boujee Astrology, and we're about to take a look at the astrological transits of March 18th to March 24th. Yeah, it's about to get real interesting, real interesting. Before we get into any type of recap or the look ahead, I want to remind everybody of the monthly specials. First monthly special is all of my hour-long one-on-ones are discounted to $35. You can book those, as many of those as you want to. I've already had a couple people hit me up for like gift certificates on those, so those are always an option. If you have natal placements in any of these areas that are getting heavily activated through the eclipse axis, the other special that I have is the personalized horoscopes to actually sit down, apply the transits to your natal chart, talk about the things that are getting activated, as well as taking a look at how this actual energy is impacting you as an individual. So personalized horoscopes are on sale that can range anywhere between $35 and $95. And again, my one-on-ones are on special for $35 for an hour. Okay, moving along. There's a lot of interesting energy to this week because we have one, the start of Aries season. Two, this entire week is building up to the start of eclipse season. This week is not the full moon in Libra. Next Monday is the full moon in Libra. So this entire week is building up to an eclipse that's not even going to happen this week. And each day we're going to feel more and more of that angst and anxiety and motivation and build up. And we're going to be coming to an energy that for many people is going to reach a culmination point. That culmination point is either going to be an actual full on breakaway, breakout ending. And for some people, it will be a very sudden and abrupt ending. Or we're going to level up. And you kind of know where you're at. It's not meant to be a surprise. By now, we're getting close to where we're starting to see the writing on the wall. If we've chosen not to believe it, that is one thing, but the writing is on the wall. Like everything is starting to really become very, very aware. And for a lot of us, again, the energy that is coming to a point, coming to a peak, hitting its culmination point, about to launch and lift off, is tied to previous energies. Some of what's going to happen this week is going to directly impact later energies. So put a big gold star on the last 2 weeks of March, because some of the things that we start to do in these next few weeks or end in these next few weeks, we will be coming back to in some way later this year because they're going to get tested. However, we got to figure out what's getting messed with before we know what the test is going to be later, of course. So there's a lot of that. Now, when it comes to the energy of Jupiter, I've been saying this for a while. Jupiter is finally going to be reaching its peak of its walk of shadow. And what that means is that the areas of the sky that Jupiter has been going through, he's already been here for a while. Jupiter entered Taurus in May of last year, went all the way to 15 degrees. September 4th turned retrograde, went back to 5 degrees, and again has been retracing steps where he has already been. Many of us have been feeling like we are going over the exact same things over and over again. Just sometimes it's with different people, sometimes it's a little bit with a different topic, but there is a continued energy that has been very constant and hasn't reached levels of growth. Between this week and next week, we're going to finally hit new areas of the sky. And that's a good thing because that means we're going to finally have levels of expansion based off of Jupiter that are going to stick. And that's great. However, Saturn, who's in Jupiter's sign, Saturn is going to go into shadow this week. And one of the ways that we deal with Saturn going into shadow is going to include a conjunction with Venus. Venus, one of the rulers of this eclipse axis. Yeah. There will be things that reach a point this week that need to clear, that need to end. It is time with Saturn to come to a close, to come to this point, whether we like it or not. Some people are going to feel the weight of Saturn and a negative impact. And if you have a negative impact now, then it's very likely when Saturn comes back to this area of the sky come later this year, that we'll get a correction, we'll get a turnaround. But some of the things that we start to do this week and next week, so the whole last half of March, only so much of it is going to stick. Now, that can mean a couple of different things depending on the situation. If you, in the next 2 weeks, leave a job, end something tied to that, you might go into a temporary job based off of the Mercury retrograde, but know that it's temporary. And then you might not actually get back into the full phase of your career until later this year. Some of you might not even be until next spring. It depends on which of these planets are activating you. Other people, we're going to completely level up in these next 2 weeks. The rapid water energy is going to turn into more of like gushes, and it's going to get busier, and it's going to get bumpier, and it's going to get more hectic. And whether it's a level up or a completion, again, these areas of the sky will get tested again later this year. So be aware of what you're doing right now. Be aware of the decisions that you're making. Be aware of the agreements that you're taking on. Over the last 2 weeks, we've had 2 conjunctions to Neptune. The first one was Mercury. Over the last few days was the Sun. And there are elements to the conversations, to the agreements, that we are not seeing clearly because Neptune is a dick. I am a Pisces moon, and I will not stop saying that. I have my reasons. Sometimes Neptune is great for spiritual growth and creativity and healing. Sometimes. Other times, it is fraud, it is lies, it is misguided, it is deception, it is deceit. It is not what we need it to be. And the thing is, Neptune doesn't care. Either way, it's a lot. Some of what is going to happen this week is going to be based off of misguided information. Some of you have just become clear on prior misguided situations, things that you thought you had under control, things that you thought you had figured out. And then what has come to light in recent days is that no, you were misinformed. No, this isn't good for you. No, this isn't real. No, it isn't true. And as we start parts of this next week, it is based off of the recent uncoverings, revealings, connections that have came to light through the Neptune energy that is going to really spark the flame as to how things are going to progress from here. And more people are going to be acting upon delusion. They're going to be acting upon misinformation. They're going to be acting upon misconception. Not everybody, but a good few. Some of us, once we hear something, whether it is logical or not, we believe it. And even if something is presented that shows you otherwise, you don't want to believe it. You don't want it to be true because that's not what you heard the first time. And then you struggle to wrap your head around what's real. There are going to be some of the situations that we are moving forward with that we only believe, understand one part of the situation. And not all of us are leading with the truth. Not all of us are leading with reality. Some of us, we are a little bit stuck in the sauce. We're in the delusion. And the thing is, we've had so much energy going through the sign of Pisces that it's really hard to make people see or believe anything but what they believe is true. Understand that some of what you are trying to explain moving forward is not going to be clear to everybody. Some of what decisions you have to make are not going to be based off of truth. They're going to be based off of lies. And that's why so many of us are about to have sudden breaks, sudden changes, because the lies have been on us. And no matter how hard you fight, no matter how much proof you have to the contrary, the myth, the lie, the fraud, the deceit is going to become the truth. And it's going to take a lot of actions and reactions to be able to turn that around. Now, I want to be fair. Again, not everybody's dealing with lies, and not everybody's dealing with fraud or deception. But some of you, even if you're not dealing with it, you know somebody who is. You're seeing the effects of something. You're starting to think that your best friend's new boyfriend, not all he cracked up to be. He might be a little dishonest. And whatever energies have been culminating these last few weeks are starting to lead us into where we're going to have a lot of shift in good ways and bad ways over the next month and a half. Some of us are going to be able to overcome the lies very quickly. The Mercury retrograde will allow for us to do that. And if you haven't checked it out yet, there's a Mercury retrograde video out, and I'm still maintaining Mercury retrograde is going to be a shit show. It is. Some of us, that Mercury retrograde is going to be about getting something corrected and getting something understood. However, not all of us are dealing with the worst thing in the world, and some of us are the support. Hi, how are you? You're going to need that support. You're going to need somebody that can keep you level, keep you sane, make things make sense when they don't make sense. Or if you're struggling mentally to understand what the hell is going on, you need somebody to go back with you through those dates and what has just transpired, especially as we go through this week. That they're going to be like, I don't know where everything went wrong. I don't know what happened. I don't know how we got here. I do. Some of you do. Some of you are really good at taking your own notes. You've got your journals, you've got your photos, you can go back to your social media posts. But a lot of what starts to culminate this week and next week is months to years in the making. A lot of what it's going to start to also pick up over this next week is also going to speak back to things that happened at the end of that Venus retrograde. If you had a good Venus retrograde, things might not be going good so good right now because you had success in temporary energy. If you were having a negative Venus retrograde, people were not seeing you clearly. People were not agreeing with you. Sometimes you felt like no matter what you said, it was not going to be taken well. If you had a negative Venus retrograde, now we're starting to come into a culmination point of correction and solution and gains. I'm so serious. What happened last summer? We have started to move towards something for quite a while now to get that timeline corrected. If you were having a really good Venus retrograde, though, now we're coming to this timeline, maybe it doesn't feel like a correction. It might feel like something else. It might feel like a culmination, like something's about to end. Listen to your heart. Listen to your gut. Maybe not so much the mind for different reasons, but look for the facts, the figures, the receipts, the hard evidence, the hard truth. This is what's going to be necessary to understand what is culminating in these next 2 weeks. And many of us are going to hit some level of a completion. And the human effect is some of us, the completion is going to happen this week. For others, it's going to happen over the weekend leading into the full moon. For a few more, it's going to be next week upon the full moon or afterwards. But whether you are reaching a full-on completion of something that you're going to be able to pick back up on later, and I do put this in the perspective of a job. If you suddenly leave your job in the next 2 weeks, you might have to take a temporary thing in the meantime. I'll use educators, for example. We're getting close to the end of the school year. I'm not going to get a whole new teaching job in April. You might have to take a temporary job. Go work at like Costco or Quick Trip. Some of y'all don't even know what that is. A Walmart or something like that temporarily, a sales job temporarily, until you can get back into your field. And that might not come until we get to the Libra transits later this year. So for some people, whatever is culminating and coming to an end might be a temporary end. But whatever starts to pick back up later won't be in the same place. It won't be with the same people. And you will have had time to ready yourself for where you're going next with new. But we are reaching some level of culmination, some level of leveling up these next few weeks. And again, the human effect for some people, it's going to be this week. The full moon perfects very, very early in the morning on Monday. For some people, it will be next week. For others, it will be in this build-up time frame. And given the way the transits are this week, a lot of it can be in this build-up time frame. So be prepared for that. Based off of what is about to come through, be prepared for something in some way, shape, or form coming to a close. It's going to get interesting. It's going to get interesting. Okay. Into the charts. For those that are just listening to me for the first time, I'll just do a quick little recap. I give you all of the transits, major or minor, as close as possible. Sometimes I'm going to give you the exact times. Other times I'm going to give you a range. Whenever it's the moon, it's usually more of a range to let you know when that's going to be the most exact. Everything that I do is from the central time zone because I'm an Okie. I'm from Oklahoma. And everything I do is from central. Just do it that way. You will need to adjust for your actual time zones. So moving along. We're on Monday morning. The moon is in Cancer all day. And in the overnight hours of Sunday into Monday, the moon is going to trine Venus. That happens more Sunday. What I have it on right now is that the moon is in a trine to Saturn. We feel this the most exact between 2:30 and 4:30 in the morning. So I got this at 3:30 a.m. Here's the moon, 12 degrees, 1 minute. Here is Saturn at 12 degrees, 0 minutes. I can see this playing out a couple different ways, given that it's in the middle of the night and we did have that previous trine from Venus. Some of us are going to have a hard time sleeping, and we're going to like have those restless moments where we wake up like, oh, I need to take this down. I need to go do this. I need to do something responsible. Not everybody's going to wake up in the middle of the night feeling that, though. And that's the human effect. Some of us are going to be dealing with it when we wake up early the next morning. That's why I like to give a range for a lot of these things. And with Saturn's energy, again, this week it is entering its point of shadow, where he will be coming back later this year. There is something about this energy that speaks to responsibilities, and it can really be a part of what we need to do the next morning. And for some of us, whatever we need to be responsible for can have a level of tension. Now, The reason I say that is where I'm at next. So there's an energy that is playing out in a simultaneous form right here that tells me that there can be a start of Monday that has more than one party involved, more than one situation at hand. Because we have two things and they're basically happening very simultaneous. The first one is Jupiter is going to sextile the moon. This is not heavy energy. This is actually a gentle energy. This is meant to be helpful. This is guidance. This is hopeful. Jupiter, a lot of times, the doctor, the guru, the teacher, this can have to do with a medical situation. But the other half of this is that Mercury is going to square the moon. And if you notice, Mercury is coming into its conjunction with the North Node on Monday. Mercury is also entering shadow on Monday. So there can be some type of pressure, push of information, arrival of information, a questioning of something, and the intention of how we move forward with something that we're going to come back to in some way, shape, or form. Because again, Mercury is entering shadow on the 18th. This is not the exact point of shadow, but I'm counting the entire day because we did just have that Sun-Neptune conjunction over the weekend. For some people, the Sun-Neptune conjunction was just like a drowning of our senses and we were super distracted. And that was a nice way for that to do it. Other people, though, something got revealed, something came to light. And now there can be some level of communication about what has recently come to light, or some type of push of communication as to something that's about to occur, depending on how this plays out for you. Now, the thing about Mercury's conjunction to the North Node, it's not going to go exact in the morning. So just to be clear, Jupiter's sextile to the moon is between 7:30 and 9:30 a.m. Mercury's square to the moon can be felt the most between 8:30 and 11 a.m. So there can be some news or tension that comes through like first thing on Monday morning. Again, with that trine that we had just had from Saturn in the overnight hours, the questioning can be an interference with some of those responsibilities, or it can be a part of the responsibility type of thing that we were talking about. As Mercury gets closer and closer to its conjunction to the North Node, we can feel something very deep within coming to light. It can be felt. Downloads, ideas, those motivations. The closer Mercury, the ruler of our logical brain, gets closer to Rahu, the head of the dragon, the thing that wishes to consume, desire, and have control and gimme, 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 gimme. Considering that energy is associated with the North Node, there can be tensions and frustrations with Mercury's square to the moon. For some people, it will be direction. For others, it's going to be tension and frustration. And some of us are going to be Jupiter in the situation, seeing two people having tension. And Jupiter's telling the moon, go walk out, get out of this room, need to stay away, need to move out, need to do something different. Again, understand that we're going into an energy that's going to have layers to it. And the closer Mercury is to the North Node, we can be mentally consumed, forceful about something we're not seeing clearly, forceful about this idea that we want to present, forceful with how we feel like something could be going. And that's the more of the negative impact. In other ways, though, it can be driven, lighter words, to create, driven to care for something, driven to fix something, to heal something. Not all of us are in the fixing and the healing right now. A lot more people are in the triggered energy, and I'm making people aware because it is pop-off season. Now, when Mercury is squaring the moon, that's early in the morning. When Mercury hits that actual conjunction to the North Node, that's going to be the evening time. And there's something else that happens in the evening time that kind of coincides with this. Some of us might have some type of idea that whenever we are talking about it or bringing it up, or we're enlightening somebody else, they're not prepared. They can be in a little bit of shock. I'm not saying that they don't support it, but it could be something that's a little bit of a shock, because whenever the moon enters the sextile to Uranus, that's when Mercury is the most exact with the North Node. So you can see that here. 15 degrees, 46 minutes, 15 degrees, 45 minutes. They go the most exact between 7:03 and 7:18. And this is when Uranus is hitting that sextile with the moon. Now, Uranus can be something unexpected, something exciting. This can have to do with technology, we feel very compelled to look something up or post something on social media. We're feeling very motivated and driven. But given that the sun just had this conjunction to Neptune, we could be motivated and driven to understand something more. Some people, they had something revealed to them in the Sun-Neptune conjunction, and what got revealed to them, they don't understand. So a lot of them are trying to get more of an understanding. And we can be trying to get more of an understanding right here. A lot of the energy that we are going into, we are not understanding everything clearly. And that's going to be hard for people to understand and swallow in the moment. Just understand, take everything you hear in every conversation with a grain of salt. That's the best way I can describe it. Okay, we're going to get into the 19th. After the Uranus sextile Mercury North Node conjunction goes the most exact, we'll be feeling the energy all evening, so it can manifest at any point in the evening. Some of us, we might have a harder time sleeping with that Mercury North Node energy, and we can find our minds are very, very busy, and we're just trying to get something understood. We're trying to get something clear. We keep having all of these ideas and these epiphanies, and where is this all coming from? And it doesn't necessarily make sense, and that can keep us up. We can have a very, very busy mind, but given that the moon is in Cancer, the busy mind can also have emotional flooding. So we could also be trying to process things that have just come through that need more direction. They need more ambiguity. They need more guidance. Now, I don't know why ambiguity just came to my head, but that's what word hit me right then. So I'm going with that one. Okay. Now, when it comes to Tuesday, early in the morning, Neptune is going to trine the moon, and this is going to go the most exact between 8:30 and 10:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. So I got this at 9:30. Here's Neptune, 27 degrees, 26 minutes. Here's the moon, 27:26. It is actually exact at 9:30. Neptune, it is illusions, it is delusions, it is the lie, it is the guidance, it's the spiritual guidance. It is the effect of something, the creativity. Some of us are going to need creative guidance, spiritual guidance. Some of us are hearing more about the recent lie, deception, fraud situation, whatever has gone on. Because the moon is going through a trine with Neptune, but then within a few hours, the moon is going to trine the sun. We can learn one element of something that has recently been revealed. We can learn something that is leaving another person in confusion. Well, some of us, we are the person in confusion going, yeah, I don't know why they're acting this way. And there is something about questioning the actions, because while the moon is in this trine with Neptune, it's in conjunct Mars. Mars is that action, that god of war. We can be discussing something that we don't understand why somebody is acting in a way that they have been. We don't understand somebody else's motivations. We don't understand somebody else's situation. And we can be professing that in the moment. I don't know why they're doing this. I don't know why they said this. I don't know why they're acting this way. I don't know. And there can be a lot of emotion in what we're trying to explain that we don't know. We can still be looking to someone for guidance and clarity. And sometimes whenever we look to somebody for guidance, they're the person that knows both halves. They know both people. They know more than you know, or they have access to more. And that takes me to the next part. And that comes down to the sun's trine with the moon. And this feels very telling in a couple of different ways. So between 12:30 p.m. and 2:30 p.m. Central Standard Time Here's the sun, 29 degrees, 38 minutes. Here's the moon, 29 degrees, 28 minutes. It's not as exact, but it's pretty close. You can see this trine, and it's happening at the 29-degree mark. The moon is about to go into Leo. It's about to go into the sun's sign. And some of us can be, in the most mundane sense, we're talking about an inspiration with somebody, not quite sure how we're going to make something happen, not knowing quite what steps to take. That's more the mundane sense with the moon's trine to Neptune. But then when the moon hits the trine to the sun, we can suddenly know what steps to take, because both the moon and the sun are going to change signs. We can do the research, do the interwebs, and look for the stuff. YouTube, Google, do the thing. Find a little TikTok to help you while TikTok still exists. Some of us might also be talking about, again, that other half. If we've just talked to Sally and Sally's like, I don't know why Bob is acting this way. I just don't know what's going on. Oh my goodness. And then later on, we have the ability to sit down with Bob, and Bob's like, I am so sick of the drama. I'm so sick of being the punching bag. I'm so sick of feeling this way. I don't want to feel this way anymore. And I feel like a lot of people are going to hit some type of point, and that leads to, again, the culminations of what's about to end. There's something about this sun-moon trine that is, I don't want to feel this way anymore. I'm not going to feel this way anymore. I'm not going to put up with this anymore. I'm not going to listen to your shit anymore. I'm not doing it. And it's not that it's like a fighting, tense energy. It's more along the lines of taking a stance and taking some level of pride, because this is a 29-degree trine, emotional trine. I'm so tired of feeling this way. I'm tired of you hurting my feelings. I'm tired of you acting this way. I'm tired of you betraying me. I'm tired of people lying to me. And the internal energy of what shifts for people between the 19th and the 20th is going to really make some heads spin. Now, in the most mundane sense, the sun's trine to the moon does speak to one part of a completion. This is one part that can lead to completion. But this feels a little bit more mundane. And it does feel like we're either telling somebody that we're done, we're telling somebody we're not going to do something anymore, we're telling somebody that we're going to take a stand. But this is not the point of where we take a stand. It's really not. There is a lot of emotional consideration that comes through right here. But then the moon is going to go into Leo. Now, the moon actually goes into Leo at 2:33 p.m. Central Standard Time. So I bumped this to 3:30. Once the moon goes into Leo, there is an uptick. It's always a little bit lighter whenever you're awake, whenever the moon changes signs. So we can just feel relief that we did just express this, that we are getting something off of our chest. But we've been so focused on one thing over here that many of us are going to find ourselves, once the moon goes into Leo, becoming aware of something else or someone else. This can be a good thing. This can be a bad thing, depending on the situation. But after the moon goes into Leo, the moon is going to hit an opposition to Pluto. And that goes the most exact between 5 and 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. 5:30. Here's the moon, 1 degree, 29 minutes. Here's Pluto, 1 degree, 39 minutes. So again, the moon's going to hit this opposition to Pluto. Pluto hasn't been a part of a lot of these transits. So much of this energy has been focused on Pisces. It has been focused on Jupiter. It's been focused on a whole area of the chart that we are not necessarily taking into consideration. And now we're going to have this hit with Pluto. This can go one of two ways that I'm seeing. One, the more positive sense, we could have just finished a project. Let's say earlier in the day, it was more of the creative energy and not so much the emotional turmoil energy. This is what I'm working on. This is what I want to build. This is how I'm going to do my flower bit. I'm going to do something super mundane. This is what I want to build. And we take that moment, we get that material done, and we build it. And then by the end of the day, with the moon's hitting the opposition to Pluto, we are showing, exposing, enlightening someone to something that has been changed, transformed, built, rebuilt, and that's a positive energy. So as we can be going somewhere and we encounter somebody and we see the transformation within them. Again, that can be more positive. However, some of us can be going somewhere and we run into somebody that we're not anticipating because our head is in this other direction and it's triggering. Some of us are going to be having to face a fear. Some of us are going to need to start talking about our fears once the moon hits this opposition to Pluto. And this fear can be feeding off of the other energy. But this fear can also be, again, telling somebody else, I'm scared to make this step. I'm scared to do this thing. I'm scared to make the leap. I'm scared this is about to happen. And we can be professing that internalized fear, the trigger at hand. We can be discussing something else. And this moon Pluto might not have anything to do with that Sun Neptune energy or the moon's trine with the Sun and Neptune. But considering the moon is now in the Sun sign and the Sun is about to change signs, this can be triggering something new or the next layer of something, the next level of something that we are not anticipating. So be aware of that. Okay. Moving along, we're going to get into the 20th. And I want to be super clear about the 20th. There's a lot of internal energies to the 20th, as well as the external. And not everybody's going to quite know how to deal with that. So I'm going to stop this now, and I'm going to remind everybody of something that I talked about in last week's episode, and that is contra-ANTISCIAs, secret alliances. If we were to fold the charts at the solstice lines and the equinox lines, we get certain energies. Contra-ANTISCIAs are secret alliance. They are secret agreements. At exactly 3:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, Saturn and Mercury are going to enter a contra-ANTISCIA. By the end of the day, at 7:50 p.m., Mercury is going to enter a contra-ANTISCIA with Venus. They're internalized energies that speak all throughout the overnight hours of Tuesday going into Wednesday and all throughout the day, that I feel like once we get into the Sun going into Aries, we become more aware of something, and that awareness fuels us. It fuels a fire. The moon is in the Sun sign. The moon is in Leo. But the Sun in the overnight hours has now entered Aries. It has now entered its exaltation. It has now entered a more empowered energy. It is the first day of spring. And all of a sudden, that level of internalized oomph is going to pick up. Restless energy, angsty energy, a little bit more struggle with sleeping, a little bit more pickup in our step and pep in our step, but with the other things going on, not all of it's pep. There's your warnings. Now, whenever it comes to Mercury and Saturn and this contra-ANTISCIA, these two just had a conjunction. When was their conjunction? February 28th. It was a Mercury Cazimi conjunct Saturn at the end of February. Right in between, there's the middle part of Mercury's going through Pisces. Certain decisions, certain responsibilities, certain things came to light. And what you can see with Mercury now in Aries hitting that secret alliance with Saturn, because that's the first contra-ANTISCIA that's happening here, there can be something that we come to a conclusion on. There can be an internalized energy that it's time to make a hard decision, a forceful decision, an argumentative decision, a combative decision. Some of us can be feeling like something's about to happen with an elder, with an authority figure, with someone else. We can feel something coming, but it's not come yet. And again, that goes into restless, anxious energy. Now, over the course of the day, while the moon is going through Leo, what the moon is also going to do is it's going to do a negative, so to speak, aspect to both Venus and Saturn. And that's going to be that the moon is going to in conjunct Venus and in conjunct Saturn. In conjunctions is we are not in agreement with, we are not in tune with, we are not on the same page with, we are not clear with something. And as we go through parts of the day on Wednesday, the moon is going to be in conjunct Venus between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. So here's the moon 10 degrees. You notice it has a little green dotted set of lines that goes up to Venus. Not seeing eye to eye. Something is in the way. We don't believe something. We don't agree with something. A lot of us can find ourselves having conversations that we don't agree with. We can be learning things that we don't agree with, that we don't see eye to eye with, that we don't understand. And there can be those internalized tensions as we go through Wednesday. And the thing is, now that the sun is in Aries and Mercury is in Aries, if we don't agree with something, we can be more likely to say something and react to something. And that human effect, I'm not putting a timestamp on that. I'm saying the human effect is that can come through at any moment. Any moment, have fun. It's going to be so interesting. Moving along. The moon will go in conjunct Saturn at 2 to 4 p.m. These are indirect placements. This is what all of Wednesday, with exception to one transit, is in this in conjunct secret agreement. Nothing is happening directly. Everything is going on behind the scenes, behind the surface. And the thing is we can feel something is going on, but we're not necessarily all going to be a part of it. We can feel something is happening, but we're not necessarily getting the benefit. We're not hearing everything. We don't know everything quite yet. Shit has not hit the fan until we get to the evening time. And that's when we get the one and only direct transit. And that's going to be when Jupiter, 15 degrees, 4 minutes, squares the moon. Jupiter's now at the 15-degree mark. We are now culminating directly from the last 2 weeks of August and the first 2 weeks of September. You're culminating from that timeline. What is also starting to come together, but has not went exact yet, but is very much building in the energy through all these in conjunctions and misdirection and yada, 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 yada. Venus's conjunction to Saturn. If you are feeling a lot of excitement throughout these days, then we can feel like something beneficial is about to come together. And Jupiter in this square to the moon can be beneficial. Sometimes we're the Jupiter one. We are the one giving guidance. We're the one giving a blessing. We are the one giving hope. Jupiter's going to square the moon, though. Sometimes we're the moon and we need guidance. We need hope. We need someone to hold our hand. We need the help. We need something. And this can either be a hopeful energy, a helpful energy, or it's going to be helpful in the negative sense. It's going to tell you the thing you don't want to hear. And some people are going to have to hear the things they don't want to hear. Sometimes we have these harsh realities. Now, when Jupiter is going through its square with the moon, that is actually when Venus is going to go through its contra-ANTISCIA with Mercury. That actually goes exact at 7:50 p.m. So we're just past it at this moment. This is why I'm saying some people are going to hear the things that they don't want to hear. They're going to hear something blunt, brash, harsh, that's going to potentially hurt some feelings. Even though Venus is in this area of exaltation, she's still in Pisces. She's still in Jupiter's sign. She's still in the level of emotional depths. And some people are going to either get the guidance of how to fix something, how to work through something, how to do something moving forward, while others are going to be like hearing, Yeah, I think it's about to go down. Yeah, I think this is going to go the other way. Yeah, I think you might lose your job. Yeah, I think you guys might be breaking up. Yeah, I think this is real this time. I don't think this is just she's mad and she needs to go stay at mom's house. I think she's done with you. Are we going to say it like that? No. But I'm being realistic. If you were having a difficulty in your relationship back at that Venus retrograde, guess what? We're hitting a culmination point. If you were having good things going through that Venus retrograde, we're hitting a bit of a culmination point. And there are things that are coming back around. And as much as I want to say that we're going to all be vibing and really enjoying the moon in Leo this time, I don't think that we all will. But I will think we will all be feeling a step up in our physical energy. And that can be a good thing and that can be a bad thing. Depends on if we're trying to get something accomplished or not. We're all in different energies. Okay. I'm going to move this along. We're going to go ahead and get into Thursday. Now, between 3:30 and 6:30 a.m., the moon is going to go through a trine from Mercury. Here's Mercury, 19 degrees, 12 minutes. Here's the moon, 19 degrees. Mercury is in the sign of Aries. He's not quite slowing down quite yet, but we are getting into a bit of territory and a bit of information that we can be familiar with, might not necessarily be completely familiar with, but there can be some very hot-headed exchanges. This is kind of some gas up type of energy, and that can be both positive and negative. But there can be some type of topic of conversation that we're not necessarily anticipating. This is happening in the middle of the night for a lot of us. So sometimes we can be up late and having a hard time sleeping and having a hard time getting our head wrapped around some things. We can be asking for guidance, searching out for guidance, but not necessarily knowing exactly where things are going to go. Considering right after the Mercury's trine with the moon, Uranus is going to square the moon. We could be telling somebody, I feel like something's about to hit. I feel like I'm going to hear something today. I feel like something's going to happen really quickly. And then with the Uranus moon square, it happens very quickly. Now, Uranus square the moon happens the most exact between 6 and 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. So here's Uranus, 20 degrees, 18 minutes. Here's the moon, 20 degrees, 0 minutes. It's close enough. You guys know how I do this. A sudden push, an unexpected questioning, an unexpected element in the situation, unexpected stubbornness for some, an unexpected communication from somebody describing like some level of change or independence that they want to take, some unexpected opportunity that you can give to someone else, give guidance to someone else. But there's something a little bit of with the unexpected as we get into the morning of the 21st. The surprise phone call, the surprise client, the surprise meeting with the boss, that type of thing, with Uranus is square to the moon. All day on Thursday, we are rectifying Venus's conjunction to Saturn. It's not going to go exact, though, until the evening time, and that's going to go the most exact between 6 and 6:18 p.m. Central Standard Time. So I'm going to just bump this to 6:30, and I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to talk about Venus and Saturn here, but understand this energy can play out anytime on Thursday. Wednesday, we're feeling it. Thursday, it's exact. Friday, we're feeling it, but there's a lot more energy to Friday. So I feel like Friday, we're riding out something that has just occurred. There have been 2 other conjunctions already with Saturn, the Sun and Mercury. We're leading up to a Venus full moon, literally within 5 days of this conjunction. Some of us, we're going to be Venus, and we're going to be looking at the beauty of something, the aesthetic of something. We're going to be looking at the care of something whenever it comes to Venus. And that care, that consideration, that need, the beauty is going to be judged by Saturn. There is a part of the Venus Saturn conjunction that feels like judgment. It feels like a ruling. It feels like sometimes we're going to have a harsh come down from a Saturnian person. The boss is going to say something that you don't agree with. The boss is going to say something that's very, very triggering. That's going to lead to the culmination energy of the sudden peak and break up, break out, firing, quitting, whatever it is. You can find yourself sitting down with the boss once we get to Thursday, and you're going to hear something you didn't anticipate. That would be the negative impact. Some of us, it's not negative at all. And we're going to have confirmation of something by an authority figure, by an elder. We're going to have something come together with the boss, with our parents, with these people that we see as an authority figure. And I want to be absolutely clear about this whenever it comes to Saturn. Saturn isn't necessarily always our authority figure whenever it comes to his energy. Sometimes Saturn is the authority of whatever situation you're dealing with. If you work in a 9-to-5 office job, a plumber is an authority figure whenever it comes to their field. The mechanic is an authority figure when it comes to his field. Is he your authority figure? Is he your boss? No. But we can have something come together with somebody that we see as an authority figure in their spectrum. For some people, Venus-Saturn can be an opportunity. It can be the opportunity that leads to that culmination level up energy that's about to hit. Because some of us, whatever is about to culminate is going to be a level up. And every day this week is building to whatever that's going to be. So if you start to have the negative impacts this week, you're going to hit a point somewhere on Thursday, most exact on Thursday. For some people, it will be Friday. For some people, you're going to hit something negative around here. Again, a harsh judgment, a harsh ruling, a bad meeting with the boss. And again, it's not going to be a surprise. The writing has been on the wall. Whether you have chose to believe that or not is one thing. Other people were going to, again, get the benefits. We're going to get the recognition, the blessing of the role, the blessing of the responsibility. We're ascending because we're going into that new energy. And you get the go ahead, the green light, like, okay, starting Monday, you're going to be working in the new desk, in your new position, in this new place. And this is whenever you talk to the boss or HR and you finalize some things that's going to lead to the new. There is something new coming. And the human effect is, for some people, it's going to be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Even though the eclipse isn't going to happen till Monday, it can actually happen before, given the way the transits are going. I said at the beginning, I'm saying it again now. Oh, for some people, this is going to be excitement. For other people, this is going to be a lot of weight and responsibility. For some people, you will have some kind of meeting on the 21st with an authority figure, with an elder, that you're not going to get the results until the eclipse. So understand that one element of this might not completely play out for a few days. So be aware of that. And there can be things with loved ones that, you know, you're just angsty and waiting for days. It is what it is. We can't make the universe go faster than we want it to, no matter how hard we try. Now, There is one other element, and I want to get to this next part. Now, this actually doesn't go exact until the 22nd, but the human effect is, I think some people are going to be feeling this on Thursday, and that is the moon's opposition to Mars. The moon will actually hit the peak of its opposition between 12:30 a.m. and 2:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. So you can see this here. I got this at 1:30 in the morning. Here's the moon, 29 degrees, 24 minutes, hitting its opposition to Mars, 29 degrees, 26 minutes. This is another 29-degree energy. We just had the sun trine the moon at 29 degrees. And I said, like, we feel like we're getting an understanding of something that's about to end, but it's not necessarily ending in that moment. That felt a lot more supportive. This does not. We're in the last little bit of Mercury in Aquarius, Mars in Aquarius. This is impacting Mercury. I said the first little bit of Mercury going through Aries while Mars is in Aquarius, we will be dealing with the disruptions of things that have been going on for quite some time. And some people are going to be very dumbfounded by the fact that all of a sudden you have an issue with something that we've been doing this way forever, but now we have a problem, and they're not going to understand everything. They're not going to understand that they've been crossing boundaries and doing certain things to piss you off, hurt your feelings, or betray you, because you're just supposed to take it. And whenever the moon hits this 29-degree opposition to Mars, the human effect is some people are going to be dealing with this Thursday evening. For a lot more people, this is going to impact how the weekend is going to go. And it's going to impact the awareness change of what is going to make Mercury start to slow down. There is something that can be very combative and frustrated and argumentative that can lead to, again, something completing, somebody leaving for the last time, something not going to be continuing in a certain way. Because, again, both of these are about to change signs. And Mars will be in Pisces for all of eclipse season and that Mercury retrograde. There is meant to be something that triggers in this energy, something that is going to change our actions, change our focus, change our beliefs, because it has to do with Mars and it has to do with Pisces. Okay. Again, the moon's opposition to Mars goes the most exact between 12:30 and 2:30 a.m. Venus and Saturn are still in their conjunction. It's going to be separating. Some people are going to make the decision on Thursday night that I'm going to go in tomorrow morning. I'm going to tell the boss to fuck off. Some people are going to be making the decision right here that they're going to try to defend themselves, and they're not going to tell the boss the next day. Some people might make the decision of they're going to call in the next day because they don't want to deal with something yet. They needed time to, again, think and wrap our head around some things. Moving this along. The moon is going to go into Virgo at 2:42 a.m. Central Standard Time. The moon is back in a mercurial sign. But this is the more tangible Mercury sign. Mars, the host of Mercury, is about to change signs. The information, the conversations, the topics that have come up throughout this week are now going to put us in an area where we need to change, strategize, and work on something tangible yet communicative. And this is where I feel like some people are having to deal with some job situations. And that's why I keep using the job as the example, because if you know that something has just went wrong between you and a boss, something has been brought to your attention, this can be the timeline where we sit down and start working on our resume when the moon is in Virgo. Not necessarily at 3:30 in the morning, just to be clear. But the moon's going to go into Virgo. Okay. After the moon goes into Virgo, it's not that it's void. It's that there's no direct aspect. the moon will go through an in conjunction to the sun. So whatever we are trying to think about is going to be something that we were not anticipating. It's something that we didn't think that we would have to deal with. We are trying to work on something that's going to be very internalized energy. And it is going to have to do with how we react to what has been recently unveiled. We have another CONTRA-ANTISCIA that is a part of the morning, and it actually goes exact at 9:30 a.m. So I want to show you that. The CONTRA-ANTISCIA, if we fold the charts at the spring solstice, or not solstice, the equinox line, the spring equinox line, the sun and Neptune are going to lay on top of each other. Numerically, they're at a secret conjunction. We are reacting and acting upon something that has just been unveiled, something that has just come to light, some of the things that we've been dealing with all week. Some of us, we are going to be reacting and trying to disprove a lie. Some of us are going to be reacting to the recent spiritual guidance. Some of us are going to be reacting to the recent effects of something. Some of us are going to be taking actions upon recent inspiration. You'll know where you're at once we get to this point. It's not going to be a surprise. But all weekend, the moon's going to be in Virgo. Now, there is not a whole lot of transits to this day, and this is why I'm saying a lot more people are going to be like really trying to wrap their head around some things. There's a lot of internalized energy, and the only real other direct transit besides the moon going into Virgo is Mars's entrance into Pisces, and that's going to happen at 6:48 p.m. Central Standard Time. That's the evening. All of Friday is about wrapping our head around something, about trying to understand something. It's about getting guidance and clarity. But for so many people, this is internalized energy. Some people, you're going to be working on a strategy of something that you're going to physically do. Other people, you're going to be, creating some type of like arrangement or alignment. Some people are going to be, putting their focus into like how you're going to decorate your house for Easter. Some people, it's not going to be heavy at all. Not all of these things are like the worst thing in the world. Sometimes you need a distraction. You need a mental distraction, the busier your mind is getting. And since Mercury is starting to slow down now, a little bit, not entirely, but since Mercury is going to start to slow down from this point on, we can be wrapping our head and trying to really understand a situation. We can be overthinking certain situations. There's a lot of mental internalized energy as we get into the weekend. Okay. Here's Mars's entrance into Pisces. This doesn't have any big aspect to it whenever it comes to another planet. So I'm not really thinking that all of us are going to be dealing with something directly. Whenever it comes to Mars's entrance into Pisces, it could be, again, that internalized decision of emotional disruption, or again, feeling that we need to defend our beliefs, defend that we're right. We're going to get into the 23rd. A little bit more energy with the 23rd. So between 3 and 5 a.m. Central Standard Time, here we go, 4:30 a.m. Here's the moon, 12 degrees. What is it doing? It's hitting an opposition to Saturn right here. Some of us are going to be trying to put into words what we're going to say to an authority figure, what we're going to say to an elder. Some of us are going to be, again, talking with somebody that we see as an authority figure based off of their situation. Some of us are going to be telling another person about what has been recently unveiled in the Saturn-Venus conjunction, because Saturn and Venus are still in their conjunction. And then right after the moon hits the opposition to Saturn, it is going to hit the opposition to Venus. Now, whenever I was writing my notes for this, some of us are not going to be talking about just the recent events. Some of us are actually going to specifically go back to the energy tied to September 3rd and September 4th. Now, this could be a me thing, but this is what I immediately thought back to. The last time Jupiter was at this 15-degree mark, Mercury was here at 15 degrees of Virgo. Mercury was. And that's right whenever Venus was going through her square with Jupiter. That was how we ended that Mercury retrograde. Mercury was going retrograde in the sky. Venus was I'm sorry, that's how we ended the Venus retrograde, was Mercury being retrograde, going through a trine to Jupiter. And some people, once we got to those few days, we were trying to get information to understand parts of the past. There is something about the 23rd that to me directly speaks back to whatever was going on Labor Day weekend last year, September, that we're hitting another point on. So for some people, whatever is going on Saturday, yes, mentally we've got all this awareness of the other things that are coming through, and this could be having to deal with Mars's entry into Pisces. This could be actually where we actually deal with the physical effects of that, and we can be having some kind of emotional healing conversation with our loved ones, talking about the responsibility and the impact of something that is going on. There is some culminating point of this energy that speaks directly back to September 3rd and September 4th, the week of Labor Day. So the weekend, that Monday, and then a few days afterwards. This is very specific whenever I was looking at this particular transit, because I started hearing things and thinking back to something that was going on right at the end of that Venus retrograde and right at the start of Jupiter's retrograde, that I heard it again right here when I was writing my notes. We can start to feel the other half of the impact. And some of us might start to have certain people reach out to us and connect with us that we're not anticipating. So some parts of Saturday will have to do with what has culminated throughout the week. Other parts of Saturday will not. It will be something completely new. And I do feel like part of that has to do with the fact that Mars just changed signs and the level of emotional disruption that's going to come through with Mars going into Pisces now. Okay. The moon's opposition to Venus goes the most exact between 7 and 9 a.m. Jupiter's trine with the moon is between 9 and 11 a.m. So again, there's a big portion of this energy that feels very simultaneous, that it feels like it's feeding into one another. Some of us, we're going to go to brunch. We're going to be telling our friends about what's going on, and they're going to remind you, like, you were having issues with them last summer. You know, it's been going on for a while. And then you're like, oh yeah, you're right. God, I forgot about that. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that in a while, because sometimes, you need somebody else to remind you. And that part wouldn't surprise me. When we get to the evening time, Uranus is going to trine the moon, and this is going to go the most exact between 7 and 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. So I got this now at 7:30. Here's the moon, 20 degrees, 5 minutes. Here's Uranus, 20 degrees, 25 minutes. You can see this trine, Earth to Earth, tangible to tangible. Unexpected memory or unexpected thing coming through that reminds you of a prior event, that reminds you where to go look for a receipt. Unexpected information that's going to help you with this information, this misguided concept. Something that comes through in an exciting way or an unexpected way, but with the moon being in Mercury sign and us needing some level of like tangible proof, I feel like a lot of people are going to have some unexpected breakthrough or feedback or information that's meant to help with where we're going next, with what's about to culminate, with what's starting to come together. I didn't remember this. I wasn't anticipating this. I didn't know that they said that. Some of us could also be hearing about the things that we didn't know had been previously stated, previously a part of the energy, previously a part of the conversations. So don't be surprised by that either. Well, obviously you're going to be surprised. Expect different things. It's a weird energy, I know. After the moon's trine with Uranus, not a whole lot going on. Again, this goes the most exact between 7 and 9 p.m. Some people, we might just get that unexpected call to get us out of our funk and get us out of our head. And we get that call from our friend going, hey, you want to go to the movies? Yes, yes, I do. I need something. I need something right now. You need a distraction. That can be a distraction. Doesn't have to be a heavy distraction to be a distraction. Oh, sometimes we just need a little bit of a break. Now, when we get into Sunday, we're going to get into the morning, and this is going to go right here about 10:30. Yeah. Between 10 a.m. and noon on Sunday, the moon is going to hit in opposition to Neptune. The moon is also going through an anticia with the sun on Sunday morning. And some of the information, some of the things that we hear, some of the things that we think about, some of the topics that we start to culminate with, some of the things that we start to put together, some of the things that we start to strategize can be something that is going to leave other people feeling very, very confused. You can feel very, very empowered by the type of information that you have, knowing that you can disprove something, or that you're going to be able to turn something around, or that something is going to be able to be changed. There's so much buildup of internalized energy that can't be ignored. And considering while the moon is in the opposition to Neptune, Venus is going through her sextile to Jupiter. I hope you have your receipts. There's something very helpful about Venus in Jupiter sign, in her exaltation, but also with that mutual reception of Jupiter, of them being in each other's signs, being able to help, heal, guide. Venus is going through this soothing energy after just having the conjunction to Saturn. So there can be some type of solution between Venus and Jupiter that, again, other people are not anticipating. Other people are not going to think about, because we're so stuck on something else in our mind. We get something a little bit more real. Even though the moon is in the opposition to Neptune, the moon is still in the tangible side. It's in Mercury sign. Venus and Jupiter are in this mutual reception with one another, and they have a whole different level of oomph and helpfulness. This is culminating less than 24 hours before the Venus ruled eclipse. So there is something very hopeful and boastful and helpful with Venus and Jupiter's energy as we go through the day. But the idea of the full level of culmination happening on Sunday, that part I don't really pick up on. I feel like a lot more people are going to be getting something solid, getting something tangible, getting something strategized, getting something planned, getting things physically moved, reworked, structured, organized, and prepared. We're getting our receipts collected. We're getting our argument prepared. We're getting our presentation prepared for Monday. The moon is going to be in Virgo until 3:38 p.m. Central Standard Time. So I bumped this to 4:30, and now the moon is in Libra. To be clear, yes, the moon is in Libra. We are building to the full moon, but the full moon does not perfect on the 24th. The full moon actually perfects in the overnight hours of Sunday going into Monday. We don't have a whole lot of energy per se playing out, but we're still going to be very much feeling the full moon energy all day on Sunday, especially once the moon goes into Libra. So we can all be feeling these levels of change and these levels of taking something off, this level of something new, this level of restoration, this level of healing, this level of ascending into our new role. For some people, it's not the ascension into the new role. For some people, it's the culmination. After we get through the eclipse, Jupiter will be in new areas of the sky. That matters because Jupiter is Venus's host. And there will be levels of solution. There will be levels of aid. There will be levels of things picking up and turning around and moving forward. And there's a lot of the energy as we go through this week that it's not meant to be a surprise. We've had the hints. The universe has let us know certain things. Mentally, we were made aware of things while Mercury was going through Pisces. We just didn't know how to respond to them. The actions and the reactions came through once Mercury went into Aries. And a lot of the actions and reactions were having to do with things that have been going on for quite some time. Now, the actions and the reactions are going to be transitional. And they start to hit the transitional energy once Mars goes into Pisces. Because the rulers of both eclipses will be in the mutable sign. They will be in Pisces. This speaks to an energy that can be healing. This speaks to an energy that has to do with faith and beliefs. For a lot of people, given the fact that Saturn is so tightly involved with a lot of this, this has to do with our karma. Karma as to what we've been putting together for quite some time and how that's going to benefit into reward. But if we haven't been doing the good things, if we haven't been doing the work in the positive way, the reward we are about to reap is going to be heavier. However, for some people, the amount of energy that's about to culminate will be based off of lies, deception, misleading. And for some people, what will happen throughout the Mercury retrograde will be trying to overcome and combat that misinformation. Not everybody's going to be able to do that up front. And again, it's going to take a lot of you to where you're going into like a break. Like if you were getting lied about by your coworkers, this can impact the way that you see the field that you're in, and you're going to want to take a break. Not everything that we're going to do in this eclipse season is going to stick. And if you find yourself actively choosing to go into a temporary energy, just remember it's not meant to stick. And there's nothing wrong with taking a sidestep for a moment. However, some of us, whenever we get into this energy that's culminating, that's growing, and if we start to level up, it's not that not all of it's going to stick in the negative sense. It's that it's going to get tested. And some of the people that we connect with now, some of the energies that are surrounding us as we go into the level up, they will not stick. Understanding your own personal peace, your own karma, and how things are going to speak to how this week culminates. And a lot of this week is a buildup of culmination energy, and that's going to feel foreign when it comes to Monday and Tuesday, because the sun is still going to be in Pisces. But once the sun goes into Aries, that's not going to feel foreign. This is going to make a lot more sense. It'll be far more clear. We will feel far more empowered. And again, many of us will be acting upon or reacting to some of the recent things that have been uncovered. Some of the recent situations that have come to light. Now, some of us, we did not uncover anything. The Sun Neptune had nothing to do with uncovering anything. It had nothing to do with us. And whenever we get through parts of this week, we're going to learn about things that got uncovered by other people. And we're going to find ourselves being in that situation of support. Can you believe he lied? Can you believe he stole my credit card? Can you believe this happened? Oh my God. No, I can't. I don't get it. Moving forward, many of us are going to be in the energies of that culmination. Many of us are going to be in the supporting roles. I'm not saying that they won't impact us, but many of us are going to find ourselves in the supporting roles. As we go through this week, you're going to know who you are. You're going to know if you're the one hitting the culmination. You're going to know if you're the one leveling up. You're going to know that you're the one having to make changes. You're going to know that you're the one going through something, or you're going to be the one sitting to the side going, I understand. I'm here when you need help. I'm always here when you need to talk. I don't know what he's thinking. I don't know where this all went. I don't know how it went wrong. But you're going to know. Some of you are going to feel like you are the one that has been misguided this entire time because, well, it's always been this way. I don't know why you suddenly have a problem. And their reaction to you declaring a boundary is going to be what leads to the rest of this energy. They don't want to accept their accountability in what brought us to this point. They're going to project. No, this is your fault. This is your problem. This is a you situation. Because they don't want to accept accountability. Some people will struggle with accepting accountability. And that's going to lead to emotional disruptions. And people will be acting in certain ways because they believe they are right and righteous. And the way that they will be acting will be very righteous. Do as I say, not as I do. I am the law. You're full of shit. Some people are going to be full of shit. Just be prepared. Every day this week has a buildup. Every day this week is going to culminate. Every day this week, there's going to be a little bit more umph. There's going to be a little bit more aggression. There's going to be a little bit more stamina. There's going to be a little bit more motivation. There's going to be a little bit more drive. Every day this week, it's going to go up, 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 up. I hope you're ready. Not everybody is, but it's going to be okay. All right. I love and appreciate every single one of you. Hit me up with questions. Hit me up with concerns. Oh, and I have an announcement. I saved this to the end. I'm sorry. I meant to actually say it in the beginning, but I thought about it afterwards. The eclipse on April 8th, I am going to be with the Guthrie Green, which for the Tulsa area, so anyone that's in this local area of Oklahoma, the Tulsa park systems, they have a downtown park where they're having a huge eclipse event, and Spiritually Boujee Astrology is going to be their on-hand astrologer for that eclipse event. So if you guys want to meet me in person, you can, and you're traveling this way for the eclipse, because some of you guys will be traveling. I will be a part of the eclipse event at the Guthrie Green in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So that's going to be fun. And that again is going to be a part of April 8th eclipse. So that's interesting. I don't know how I feel about this. It's a lot of fun, but all right, guys, I love and appreciate every single one of you, and I'll talk to everybody soon. Subscribe.